The papers scattered across grandfather's desk rippled in my trembling hands. Each one was horrifying evidence that tightened my stomach. What had once been a sanctuary filled with leather, bound books, and warm afternoon light now felt suffocating under the weight of terrible truth. Emma, grandfather's voice cracked like dry leaves, stripped of its usual strength and reassuring resonance. Promise me. Promise you'll protect this house, this legacy, everything. Don't let them destroy what I've built. I stared at grandfather's face. It had turned gray with exhaustion and something deeper, fear. The grandfather who had always been my fortress against the world now looked fragile and brittle. Around us, stacks of financial documents cast long shadows in the twilight. Grandfather, what are you talking about? What's happening? Grandfather's hand gripped mine with surprising force. Your father, Robert, he's using the company for money laundering. Shell companies, forged documents, offshore accounts. I spent months gathering evidence. The words hit me like a physical blow. That can't be true. Dad would never. Look at this. Grandfather pushed a folder toward me with shaking hands. Bank statements, construction contracts, email printouts, all bearing my father's signature. Vincent Delgard, the Torino family, men who make people disappear when business goes bad. Your father brought them into our family business. My world tilted sideways. The father I'd respected, the successful businessman who taught me about integrity and hard work, he was a criminal. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm dying, Emma. The blunt words fell between us like stones. The stress, the sleepless nights, knowing what he's done. My heart can't take much more. And when I'm gone, he'll try to sell this house to destroy the evidence. I collapsed into the chair across from his desk. My legs refused to support me. This house? This isn't just a house. It's evidence. Within these walls, in my files, in places only I know, everything needed to stop him is hidden here. But if he sells it, destroys it, burns it down. Grandfather's voice trailed off. Our family's true legacy, 20 years of everything, will disappear. Outside, storm clouds gathered on the horizon, mirroring the darkness spreading in my chest. Everything I thought I knew about my family was crumbling. What do you want me to do? Grandfather's eyes, clouded with pain but burning with determination, met mine. Stop him. When the time comes, and it will come, use what I've left for you. The will, the evidence, the truth. Save our family's honor before it's too late. 3 months later, when Mr. Jenkins read those life-changing words in that suffocating courtroom, I would understand exactly what grandfather meant. But in that moment, holding his trembling hand as shadows stretched long across the desk, I could only whisper the promise that would determine everything that followed. I swear, grandfather, I'll protect everything. The grandfather clock in the corner chimed 7 times, each note echoing through the study like a declaration of war beginning. 3 months later, in the courtroom, I never imagined my own family would betray me so completely. But now, standing in the back of this suffocating courtroom, watching my father's face twist with rage as Mr. Jenkins reads grandfather's will, I see the truth. The mahogany paneling seems to close in with each word, and the musty air grows thick with tension. My cousin Sophie sends me a glance from across the room, then quickly looks away. The ancestral Carter family home, all its contents and surrounding property, I bequeath to my granddaughter, Emma Carter. My heart pounds against my ribs. The room erupts in harsh whispers, a storm of disbelief and anger. My father's neck turns crimson as he whips around to glare at me. Uncle Jason grabs Dad's shoulder, but his own face betrays the same shock. That can't be right. Dad's voice cuts through the chaos. There must be some mistake. Mr. Jenkins adjusts his wire-rimmed glasses and responds without flinching. The will is quite clear, Mr. Carter. Your father made his intentions explicitly known. I grip the back of a wooden bench to steady myself. The room spins with fragments of memory. I remember last summer's heated argument, bleeding through the study door as I stood frozen in the hallway. Grandfather's usually gentle voice had turned sharp with anger. I know what you've been doing at the company, Robert. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Dad's response was cold and calculated. You're an old man living in the past. Business works differently now. Money laundering isn't business, Grandfather shot back. It's crime. The memory shifts to 3 months ago. Just weeks before Grandfather's death, I found him in his study, surrounded by stacks of papers, his face gray with exhaustion. When I asked if he was okay, he gripped my hand with startling strength. Promise me, Emma. Promise you'll protect it. The house, the legacy, everything. Don't let them destroy what I've built. I didn't understand then. I understand now. Emma. Dad's voice pulls me back to the present. His expensive leather shoes click against the hardwood floor as he approaches me. We need to discuss this immediately. There's nothing to discuss. My voice sounds stronger than my pounding heart suggests. Grandfather made his choice. You don't understand what's at stake here. His words carry a threat beneath the surface. Uncle Jason hovers behind him, conflict etched in the lines around his eyes. The house needs to be sold. This is the perfect time for the market, and we have buyers ready. Another memory flashes. Late night at Dad's construction company office last month. I was waiting to deliver some papers when I heard voices through the thin walls. An unfamiliar man speaking in urgent tones. The FBI is starting to ask questions, Robert. We need to clean that money, and fast. My stomach churns. So you need cash for your money laundering operation. The words slip out before I can stop them, spoken quietly enough that only Dad and Uncle Jason can hear. Dad's face pales. Watch your tongue, he growls. You don't know what you're talking about. But I do. I've seen the signs for months. The mysterious meetings, the shell companies, the money flowing in and out through construction projects. Grandfather saw it too. That's why he did this. I won't sell the house. I straighten my spine and meet his gaze. Not now, not ever. You ungrateful little. Dad steps forward, but Uncle Jason pulls him back. Robert, not here, Jason mutters, his eyes darting to the crowded courtroom. I step backward, my heels catching on the carpet. The other relatives watch with barely concealed interest, vultures waiting for blood. The weight of their stares presses down on my shoulders. Miss Carter, Mr. Jenkins' voice cuts through the tension. There's one more clause. The property cannot be sold without your explicit written consent. Your grandfather was quite insistent on this point. Dad's jaw tightens, muscles jumping visibly. This isn't over, he snarls, turning on his heel with Uncle Jason following. Though he gives me one last look, warning or sympathy, I can't tell. The day after the will reading. What do you see? I lean forward in the chair in Olivia's office, my heart pounding as she examines the documents spread across her desk. Afternoon sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating dust particles that dance around us like tiny conspirators. Olivia adjusts her wire-rimmed glasses and places the sales contract under a digital scanner. Her dark eyes narrow. The pressure points don't match, she says, tapping the screen to zoom in. Look at the line tremor here and here. She traces the arrow above 2 spots where the ink seems to hesitate. Your authentic signature is much more fluid. My stomach tightens. Comparing the forged document to my driver's license signature, the forgery is sophisticated. Too sophisticated. Someone paid serious money to have this made. Dad is desperate. Desperate enough to commit fraud. Olivia's fingers fly across the keyboard, pulling up digital analysis. Red markers highlight the discrepancies, casting guilt in stark relief. This won't hold up in court. The house is still yours, Emma. Your grandfather made sure of that. A memory surfaces, holding grandfather's hand in the study for the last time. Promise me you'll protect it. He knew. He must have known Dad would try something like this. Ms. Martinez, Olivia's assistant appears in the doorway. Your 3 o'clock is here. 5 minutes, Olivia says, organizing the papers into folders with precise, controlled movements. Emma, we have what we need to fight this. But there's something you should know. Men like your father, when cornered. She lets the warning hang in the air. I nod, grabbing my purse. I understand. Thank you, Olivia. Same day afternoon, at the cafe. The cafe is nearly empty when I meet Sophie an hour later. She's chosen a corner table far from the few other customers, her hands wrapped around an untouched latte, knuckles white with tension. I got your message, she says, glancing over her shoulder before continuing. About the forged documents. About Dad trying to force the sale. I slide into the seat across from her, keeping my voice low. But that's not why I called you here. I need to know what else you've seen, what you've heard, Sophie. Her face drains of color. I shouldn't get involved, please. I reach across the table, stopping just short of touching her trembling hands. You might be the only person inside the company who can help me. You've noticed things too, haven't you? Sophie's eyes dart to the door again before she pulls out her phone. 2 weeks ago, I was working late. Uncle Robert didn't know I was still there. I recorded this. She slides the phone across the table, an email displayed on the screen. I gasp. The message is coded but clear enough. Timeline accelerated. Buyers expect clean transfer by month's end. Jay has arranged secondary processing. J is for Uncle Jason. Sophie nods. There's more. Check the attachment. When I open it, my heart nearly stops. Account numbers, shell companies, all part of a complex web of transactions flowing through Dad's construction projects. The scale is overwhelming. Delete it, I whisper, pushing the phone back. Now, and Sophie, I meet her eyes. Be careful. Don't let them know you saw this. She nods, fingers shaking as she erases the evidence. What are you going to do? I think of the house, of grandfather's study filled with documents I haven't had time to examine. There's something at the house, I say slowly, pieces falling into place. Something he left for me to find. That's why Dad is pushing so hard for the sale now. Emma, Sophie's voice drops even lower. Yesterday, I got an anonymous email. It said there was evidence at the house. Hidden somewhere. All the evidence. She swallows hard, all of it. My mind races. Grandfather was meticulous, always 3 steps ahead. He wouldn't have left me defenseless against this betrayal. Somewhere in that house is the key, evidence that could stop Dad's crimes. I stand, chair scraping against the floor. I have to go. Be careful, Sophie calls after me, fear woven through her voice. Uncle Robert, he's not just desperate, he's dangerous. Same evening, grandfather's house. The drive home is a blur of strategy and memory. As darkness falls, I park in the garage and slip into the house through the kitchen door. The study waits upstairs, shrouded in shadows and silence. On a dusty shelf, untouched since grandfather's death, sits his laptop. I lift it with trembling hands and power it on. Sophie's warnings echo in my head. He's dangerous. But truth is dangerous too. And somewhere in this house, that truth waits to be discovered. The anonymous email Sophie forwarded glows on the screen. I read it again, slower this time, analyzing each cryptic line. Check the heart carved in the garden wall. Count 3 up, 2 across. The drawer that never opened. He kept the key behind the loose brick. My pulse quickens. The carved heart. I remember it from childhood. Some long ago Carter had etched initials there. And grandfather's study drawer, the one he always kept locked. I thought he'd taken that secret to his grave. I transcribed the message with shaking fingers, grabbing a notepad. Each detail seems deliberately placed, breadcrumbs on a trail grandfather designed for me to follow. The carved heart would lead to a key, and the key too, somewhere in the house, floorboards creak. I freeze, finger hovering over the print button. The sound came from downstairs, too heavy to be the house settling. Someone else is here. I quickly hit print and close the laptop. The printer whirs to life, making far too much noise in the silence. I grab the paper, fold it, and slip it into my pocket. Another creak, closer now. Footsteps on the stairs. As my heart pounds against my ribs, I move toward the study door. One question burns in my mind, urgent and terrifying. What evidence did grandfather hide that's worth breaking in to find? The footsteps reach the landing. I switch off the desk lamp and press myself against the wall, praying the darkness is enough to hide me. Tomorrow, I'll follow grandfather's trail of clues. But first, I have to survive tonight. The next day, warehouse surveillance. The warehouse reeks of mold and rust as I crouch behind stacked wooden crates with Olivia and Sophie in the darkness, our breathing shallow and controlled. Are you sure they'll come here? I whisper, checking the position of the listening device Olivia planted last night. The small apparatus is hidden in a gap between crates, nearly invisible. According to the messages Sophie intercepted, this warehouse is their regular meeting place. Olivia answers quietly. The equipment I installed yesterday afternoon will record all conversations within a 50-meter radius. Through gaps in the crates, a shaft of fluorescent light illuminates my father's face as he paces the concrete floor 20 feet away. Even from here, I can see the sheen of sweat on his forehead. We're running out of time, he shouts to the shadows gathered around him. The FBI is breathing down our necks, and that little bitch, the words twist like a knife in my chest, refuses to cooperate. A gravelly voice responds from the darkness. You promised this would be handled cleanly, Robert. The speaker steps into the light. Vincent Delgard. His expensive suit contrasts sharply with the decay around us. Instead, we have whispers of investigation and a paper trail a mile long. My hand tightens around the small recording device in my pocket. Olivia touches my arm, a silent reminder to stay quiet. I can fix this, Dad insists, though there's a tremor in his voice I've never heard before. The house sale will cover everything. Once that's done, how exactly do you plan to accomplish that? Vincent's words drip with menace. Your daughter holds the keys now, doesn't she? Dad's jaw muscles twitch. Leave Emma to me. The papers are ready. With or without her cooperation, that sale will happen within 48 hours. Sophie stiffens beside me. I don't need to see her face. I know she's thinking the same thing I am. Forged documents. He plans to forge my consent. The meeting continues, voices growing more heated as they discuss shell companies and offshore accounts. Each word is another nail in the coffin of the man I thought was my father. Olivia's surveillance equipment captures everything, but the real evidence is burned into my memory. The casual way they discuss fraud, the calculated plan to steal what's rightfully mine. 2 hours later, secret base. Later, in our makeshift command center, an abandoned office space 3 blocks away, Olivia sorts through intercepted communications while Sophie paces nervously behind a desk. They're moving faster than we thought, Olivia says, fingers flying across the keyboard. Look at this timestamp. The sale documents are already in processing. I lean over her shoulder, scanning the decoded messages. How much time do we have? Hours, maybe. She points to a string of encrypted text. Buyers will be ready by morning. Once these papers are filed, I won't let that happen. My voice sounds steely, surprising even me. Grandfather trusted me to protect this legacy. I won't let them destroy everything he built. Sophie stops pacing. Emma, maybe we should try talking to Uncle Robert first. Try to convince him. The memory of his face in the warehouse, cold, calculating, already planning to forge my signature, hardens my resolve. No, he had his chance to do the right thing. It's time for a different approach. Late that same night, confrontation at grandfather's house. 20 minutes later, I stand in grandfather's study. The weight of generations presses through the darkness. The house creaks around me. Familiar sounds that once brought comfort now feeling like warnings. The door opens and Dad's silhouette fills the frame. His shoulders are tight with barely controlled rage. I heard you wanted to see me. His voice is carefully controlled, but I can hear the storm brewing underneath. Yes, I move to grandfather's desk, placing my hand on its worn surface. We need to discuss the forged documents you plan to file tomorrow morning. Silence stretches between us, thick with decades of lies. Through the study windows, storm clouds gather on the horizon, reflecting the darkness in my father's eyes. I don't know what you're talking about, but something flickers in his expression, fear, or perhaps recognition that his carefully constructed world is beginning to crumble. Don't you? I reach into my pocket and pull out the recording device. Would you like to hear what Vincent Delgard had to say about it? His face drains of color. Behind him, Uncle Jason appears in the doorway, his expression caught between loyalty and fear. You foolish girl. Dad's voice shakes with rage. Do you have any idea what you've done? The people you're dealing with are criminals. Like you. My words stop him cold. He lunges forward, slamming his hands on the desk between us. Everything I did was for this family. No, my voice cuts through the air with conviction. Everything you did was for yourself. Uncle Jason steps forward, his face gray. Robert, maybe we should back away from this. Not if you don't want to be investigated for your involvement too. The threat hangs in the air. But something changes in Uncle Jason's eyes. I watch loyalty crack and split under the weight of too many lies. After they leave, Dad's threats still echoing off the wood-paneled walls, I sink into Grandfather's chair, exhausted. But something catches my eye, a slight irregularity in the bookshelf behind the desk. Standing, I run my fingers along the spines of old leather volumes. There, a gap that would be almost invisible unless you were looking for it. With my heart pounding, I carefully remove the loose panel. Inside the hidden compartment, a weathered diary sits atop a stack of papers. My hands shake as I lift it, recognizing Grandfather's precise handwriting. The first page reads like a confession, a record of everything he discovered about Dad's illegal operations. I flip through pages with trembling fingers. Grandfather's meticulous script spreads across each page, dates, account numbers, conversation details, all arranged with methodical precision. My heart pounds as I grasp the terrifying scope of these records. March 15, 2024. Robert establishes shell company, Sunnyside Construction. No actual construction work. When questioned, claims new investment opportunity. April 2, 2024. First payment from Delgard operation confirmed. $1.5 million flows through 3 separate accounts. Robert thinks I don't know, but I have copies of the bank statements. I continue flipping toward the diary's final pages. There, my blood runs cold. Grandfather's last entry was dated just 3 days before his death. Timma, if you're reading this, I knew my time was coming. Robert and his associates are getting desperate. The FBI is closing in, and they know it. I didn't leave you the house by accident. It was to protect this evidence and see justice done. But be careful. Desperate men are unpredictable. I love your father, but I no longer know what he might do. Behind the basement wall, there's one last insurance policy you might need, the third panel, counting from the fireplace. When this is over, you'll be safe. But until then, watch your back. With love, Grandfather. My hands shake and the page falls. The basement. The one part of the house I haven't explored. I need to go downstairs, I say, standing. Grandfather hid something else. Late that same night, we descend the basement stairs carefully. Old wood creaks under our weight, the flashlight beam dancing across damp stone walls. The air is thick and musty, heavy with decades of dust and forgotten memories. The basement is larger than expected, with shadow-filled corners extending beyond our light's reach. Old furniture, paint cans, the accumulation of generations, layers of our ancestors' lives. But one wall stands out, a stone fireplace, long abandoned and unused. I remember Grandfather's instructions and count from the fireplace. The third panel, I murmur, feeling the texture of the stones. First, second, and there. A slightly different texture, a bit looser than the others. Here, I push my fingers into the gap, trying to move the stone. At first, nothing happens. Then slowly, with a grinding sound, the panel rotates inward. A hidden cavity appears, the flashlight illuminating its contents. a metal file box, old, with rust at the corners. I lift it, surprised by its weight. "Let's see what's inside," I whisper. We gather around an old card table and open the box. Inside, photographs. Dozens of photographs, date-stamped. Dad meeting with unknown men. Handshakes, envelope exchanges, moments clearly hidden from surveillance. Each photo is a piece of investigation, irrefutable evidence of criminal activity. And beneath the photos, copies of bank records spanning multiple years. Account numbers, names, amounts, a detailed map of the money laundering operation flowing through Dad's company. But at the bottom, I find the real bombshell. A copy of a letter from the FBI, addressed to grandfather, dated 1 week before his death. "Mr. Carter, we thank you for your cooperation. The information you've provided has allowed us to significantly advance our ongoing investigation. If all goes according to plan, we expect to secure indictments by next month. To ensure your safety, this communication will be treated as confidential." My world tilts again. Grandfather wasn't just gathering evidence. He was actively cooperating with the FBI. He was an informant, I gasped. Grandfather was reporting Dad to the authorities. Footsteps upstairs, heavy, calculated. We freeze like unmoving statues. "Emma," Dad's voice echoes down the basement stairs. "Come up here." Now, I grab the photographs, stuffing the most damning evidence into my pockets. "Hide these," I whisper urgently. "Whatever happens, protect these." But it's too late. Dad's figure appears in the doorway, followed by Uncle Jason and 2 unfamiliar men. Their faces are hidden in shadows, but their posture, threatening, dangerous, tells the whole story. "Put down that box." Dad's voice is ice cold. "Right now." My heart pounds as I clutch the metal box tighter. Grandfather's final gift, the key to truth, the only means to save our family's honor. "No." My voice sounds stronger than I feel. "This is mine. Grandfather left it for me." Dad steps forward, something changing in his eyes. The familiar face transforms into a mask of someone I don't know. Cold, calculating, all traces of love stripped away. "You don't understand what's at stake," he says. "What you found, it could destroy us all." I back against the stone wall. "If the truth destroys you, then you deserve to be destroyed." His face contorts into an expression I've never seen before. Fear and rage and something else, desperation. "You were always like your grandfather." Bitterness fills his voice. Stubborn, idealistic, not understanding how the real world works. "Grandfather was a good man." My voice rises. "He wasn't like you." I don't see the hand before it strikes my cheek. The shock snaps my head back, ears ringing, eyes watering. "Enough." Uncle Jason's voice cuts in. "Robert, this is getting out of hand." "It's too late to stop now." Dad snaps back. Too much is at stake. I hold my cheek, still feeling the sting from Dad's hand. But something hardens inside me. Determination, purpose, and the kind of courage grandfather would be proud of. "Let's end this," I say, my voice steady with new strength. "Tonight, here. You want me to hand over this evidence, and I want you to admit the truth." Silence fills the basement, thick with damp air. We all wait for what happens next, for who gives in first. But holding grandfather's final gift in my hands, I'm certain, whatever happens, this will be the night our family's lives finally end. Upstairs, a phone starts ringing. Once, twice, 3 times. Dad's eyes dart to the ceiling, and in that moment of distraction, I see my chance to act. "You should answer that phone," I say calmly. It might be the FBI. And in Dad's face, I know I'm right. Fear crosses his features, confirming the game has changed. The hunter has become the hunted. 6 months later, morning light streams into grandfather's study, feeling warm for the first time in months. A newspaper lies spread across the desk, its headline proudly declaring, "Carter Construction Fraud Case, Guilty Verdict." I fold the newspaper and smile at grandfather's photograph. Even in the picture, His eyes look wise and kind. "We did it, grandfather," I whisper. "I kept my promise." Outside the window, the gardener tends to the roses grandfather loved. This house is truly mine now, not through fear or threats, but through justice and truth. Dad received a 15-year sentence. Uncle Jason got a lighter sentence in exchange for testimony. And Vincent Delgart and his associates, they'll never get out. Sophie has taken over the company, returning it to legitimate business. Olivia is working on new cases, but still comes for tea sometimes. And me? I continue protecting the legacy grandfather built. A legacy of truth. The phone rings. I pick up the receiver to hear an unfamiliar woman's voice. "Miss Carter? I'm a reporter downtown. I'd like to write an article about your courageous actions." I smile. "I'm sorry, but I don't give interviews. However, if you really want to tell people something, it's this. Just because someone is family doesn't mean you should overlook their wrongs. It's never too late to do the right thing." I hang up and look at grandfather's photograph again. His final letter sits in the desk drawer. I reread it sometimes, but the last line always resonates the same way. Truth is sometimes a difficult path, but it's also the only path worth walking. At dusk, I walk through the garden. The carved heart is still there, etched in stone with old promises of love and romance. But now it represents something different: love of justice, love of truth, and sometimes the most difficult love, the love that guides family toward the right path. Wind blows through the leaves, sounding like grandfather's voice. Proud, peaceful, finally satisfied. This house is safe. This legacy is protected. And I am, at last, free.